I don't know about you, but Joe Biden threatening to sic the FBI on parents for objecting to CRT ain't going to stop Judicial Watch from continuing to find the truth and uphold the rule of law here. Look, Judicial Watch is, as I've said before, front and center in the civil rights battle of our time, which is the battle against CRT, critical race theory. And I say that with a little bit of irony because those who promote CRT pretend to be in favor of civil rights when in fact they're promoting discriminatory activity, discrimination based on race in our schools, in our military, in our government, and in our corporations. And woe to you who take this on as an issue. As a parent, if you go to school board meetings, the Biden administration considers you to be terrorists potentially. If you're teachers and you object, you face getting fired. If you're in the military and you object, Lord help you as well. This is a fanaticism that obviously is seeking to propagandize and transform our school children into little Marxist agitators. But anyone who gets in the way, they'll roll right over. And that includes a new Judicial Watch client who was a Massachusetts high school teacher who was fired over posts she had made prior to her being a teacher for opposing CRT. Her name is Carrie McRae. She was fired in retaliation for posts on social media objecting to the inclusion of critical race theory in schools. And what she had been doing was she had been running for office for the school committee there in Bourne, Massachusetts, and she got elected. And as part of her campaign, she posted a TikTok video. And this is the terrible thing she said on TikTok. So pretty much the reason I ran for school board and the reason I'm taking on this responsibility is to ensure that students, at least in our town, are not being taught critical race theory. That they're not being taught that the country was built on racism. So they're not being taught that they can choose whether or not they want to be a girl or a boy. It's one thing to include, and it's one thing to be inclusive, and it's one thing to educate everybody about everything. It's completely another thing to push your agenda. And with me on the school board, that won't happen in our town. So she has a straightforward, conservative view held by millions of Americans that sensitive issues related to the Marxist attack on our country and the radical agenda related to transgenderism be policed in more significant ways by school boards. So she gets hired a few months after those and other social media posts, and someone finds them, and the school board and the school committee for the other school district where she was working. So what's interesting is she wasn't working in the school district in which she was a school board member. She went and got hired at Hanover High School at the Hanover School District. And they fired her. They brought her in almost immediately upon her being hired, and as soon as this material got into the public domain, I guess some leftists didn't like what she was doing and tried to, they didn't even know she was a teacher when she posted this. She gets hired, they bring her in, and they say, based on your school, on these social media posts, you're going to get fired. As she said, Carrie McRae said, I got fired specifically for a social media post I made. This is a violation of free speech. So she gets called in, and this is the letter they sent her. I have determined that continuing your employment in light of your social media posts would have a significant impact on student learning at HHS, which is Hanover High School. And she got fired. Our lawsuit details, so we filed a lawsuit for her on behalf of her, charging retaliation for her First Amendment protected speech. The lawsuit details that no Hanover High School parent or student had raised concerns about her employment at the school because of the social media posts. So this was kind of, again, I keep on calling it this fanaticism, where you have these folks who are so desperate to push critical race theory that they will trample on the civil rights of parents, and in the case of our client, teachers who oppose their agenda. And frankly, didn't really do anything to oppose their agenda as teacher. McRae had made this post months before. There's no evidence she was doing anything even in the school, even though that probably would have been her right. So this is really outrageous. And it's not going to stop. It's getting worse. And we've got the Biden administration targeting, as I said, parents who are daring to speak up. We have the school boards lying about critical race theory, trying to pretend it's not happening, and keeping files on parents in some circumstances who object to it, attacking parents who object to it, trying to keep what they're doing secret so that parents are kept in the dark about how their children are being taught. And this parent, this person, Carrie, goes and runs for public office, gets elected to the school board, and months later, her mainstream comments on this issue get pulled out and used against her, and frankly, even non-mainstream comments would prevent her from being, there's no good reason to fire her over anything she said. The First Amendment protects your right to petition your government, and you can't be punished by government officials like the school board is doing to our client. And of course, this isn't the only case. You may know we're representing Coach Mike Flynn, who was fired as a high school football coach because he objected to his middle school daughter being force-fed this Black Lives Matter and critical race theory propaganda. So there was retaliation there. He objected as a parent and taxpayer. We have a teacher in Illinois, Jean Hedspeth, who was fired by her school district because she put up Facebook posts mildly criticizing the Black Lives Matter riots that were destroying her cities. So they're coming after anyone who objects to this. And Judicial Watch has filed 3 federal civil rights lawsuits to try to vindicate the rule of law and to protect the rights of teachers and parents to object to critical race theory. And we have numerous Freedom of Information Act requests out there that have exposed critical race theory in places like Loudoun County, Virginia, the biggest school district in Maryland, Montgomery County, up in Rhode Island. I think we've got material out of Massachusetts, and we've been helping quietly parents throughout the land, throughout the country, try to get information from their school districts about what's been going on here. So we're not going to back down. I don't know about you, but Joe Biden threatening to sic the FBI on parents for objecting to CRT ain't going to stop Judicial Watch from continuing to find the truth and uphold the rule of law here. So this is our latest lawsuit. You can go to the website, learn more about it, and I encourage you to support our work in this regard because this is where your donations go to. You help us do work like this.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.